Good evening. We are back again with a Radical Race Series Round 7 live from Fuji in Japan. I am James Parfitt. I'm going to be joined in the booth by Ewan O'Leary this evening, as always here on a Thursday night. So we're here broadcast live on the JPB YouTube channel and on the Radical Race Series YouTube channel as well. So if you are here for the first time, don't forget to subscribe, turn on the bells for notifications, and give the video a big old thumbs up. So it's the turn of Fuji, and let's have a look at this great circuit here with this flyby this evening, given to us by Sim Racing Community. Sim Racing Community have designed to bring the sim racing world together onto one platform, covering all categories from the latest news and forum that covers all areas of the major sim racing titles. A social community allowing you to meet new people within the sim racing world, live racing, league racing, paint shop design downloads, and much, much more. The platform is free to use and enjoy, and we look forward to seeing you there at www.simracingcommunity.com. The track itself is Imola. Current major events: the FIA WEC, the GT World Challenge Asia, the Super GT, the Super Formula, and the FRJC Formula as well. Opened in 1965. There is 4 configurations of this circuit. This one taking place from 2005 to present. 4.563 kilometers in length, 2.835 miles. Third configuration was September 87 to 2003. Second configuration was 1975 to August 1987. And then the original circuit was from 1965 to 1974. So this is a well-known track in Japan, guys, and one this evening that's going to provide absolutely epic racing capacity of about 110,000 FIA grade 1 circuit. So stay tuned for that one, and we're set just outside the city of Oyama in Japan. So there we go. But let's bring in Ewan O'Leary to tell us all about what happened last week. Good evening, Ewan. Hope you're well.
Yeah, very well indeed. Very much looking forward to kicking off the second half of this season at Now Fuji, a new circuit to the iRacing calendar, of course, and one that not many drivers will be experiencing. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. But yeah, last time out, Simon Edwards took another win in this series. It's his third of the season now, which has made up half of the races we've had so far. But he's had some poor rounds as well here and there. So he's up there in second in the championship, still behind Mike Booson, who was third last week. Dan Webster was sandwiched between them in second. And so we've only got 10 points now between 1 and 2 in the championship. Paul Crabb wasn't there last week. He's not here again, or at least last when I looked a few minutes ago in practice. Paul Crabb wasn't there, so it was unfortunate to see him slipping away ever so slightly now. But yeah, I mean, we've got a very interesting situation on our hands now, with only 10 points between Mike Booson and Simon Edwards, who seem very well matched this season.
Yeah, it does as well. The interesting thing about Mike is he's not won at all this season. He's got 0 wins. Simon Edwards got 3, Paul Crabb 1, Luke Maxwell's got 1, and Graham Brown's got 1 as well. But Mike Booson, I think that's the thing. We can see the championship standings in front of us currently, Ewan, and Mike's leading the overall championship by 10 points. He's got 185 at the moment. Simon Edwards on 175, Paul Crabb 154, Luke Maxwell 146, Ben Underdown 126, Paul Clark 122 from iLounge Racing there as well. Paul LeMay on 116, Michael LeMay, his brother, on 114, Damien G on 112, David Rolliston on 109, and Oliver Ettridge on 94, Jamie Bird on 85, Phil Glover on 83, Graham Brown on 79, Colin Wynn on 72, Scott Lear on 70, Phil Jocelyn on 69, and James Child rounds out our top 18. But I think for Mike, it's just been consistency, hasn't it? We're used to seeing him in second place. He got a third last week, you know, and I think it's just the fact that he's not won, but yet he still leads the championship. And I think that's a big shout out to him, really, of just how consistent he's actually been this season.
He doesn't have any wins, but he also doesn't have any bad races this season, which is really the key to this one. We've seen a couple of them from Simon Edwards. I think he wasn't able to attend one of them as well, Edwards, which is putting his points tally down a little bit there as well. But I do think Booson still has some work to do in this season. Obviously, he's going to want to get that race win. But when you have to factor in that there are 3 drop rounds in this series, only 9 of them are going to count. Simon Edwards, one of his drop rounds is going to be a 0-point score. So if you see what I mean and can visualise what I'm trying to say, is that Mike Bousson is going to have more points to drop at this stage. His worst races are better than Simon Edwards, which you'd think is a good thing, but that does mean he's going to lose more points when all the drops are applied. And that does mean that I think Simon Edwards will end up being in the championship lead when they all get applied a little bit later. Obviously, it's a bit early for that kind of maths, but I do think that Bousson still has a bit of work to do. And of course, he is definitely going to want to finally get that race win that has been almost haunting him so far this season.
Yeah, I think he's really going to be looking to get it. He's almost... He doesn't want the title of a nearly man, but that's kind of what he has been across the last 6 races, that nearly man. You know, and there's been times where you would have thought he'd got it, and then he didn't get it, and then he finished second. And it's just a trial and tribulation for Mike Bousson. I think he's got to go out and really kind of get a victory, as you say, to compensate for the fact that he is going to have a drop round. You know, we're going into qualifying very, very shortly as well. That kicks off in a brief moment. But I think from Mike's perspective, I think he needs that win. I think Mike in his own will say he needs that win, and he's got to get it. Now, Fuji isn't the most easiest track to get a win on. You know, you've got the tight chicane at the later on in the race as well at turn 10, and I think it's going to be tough for pretty much most folks this circuit, because as you say, it's a new circuit. It's not been out long. Not many people have driven it. Not everybody likes it. But these kind of drivers have got to adapt to it. You know, I think the reflective is this evening on the amount of cars we've got on track. We've got 12 currently on track at the moment as well. And I think it's a tough one, because a combination of obviously half term. If you've got kids, you can't make it. If you're away, you can't make it either during this week, because obviously the half term and kids are off school and stuff like that. But I think, do you think the factor of it being a new track as well, and not everybody's tested it, not everybody's got it, is that kind of probably putting the numbers in perspective of where they are at the moment?
I think that's the main contributing factor, actually, to the to the turnout we have here, because of the fact that it is a new circuit introduced. I believe it was at the start of season 4 for this season, or was it season 3?
No, I think it might be in this season. I think.
It could be. I mean, who knows really? I don't. Time's flying, so it could have been last season. It could be this one, but I think even if it was for season 3, you know, that was all the way back in June. But even so, it's a new circuit, and if these drivers, you know, think that, well, this is possibly the only hour I'm going to be using this track for months, you know, until this gets put on the radical schedule again or whatever else it is they do. If they believe that they're not going to use Fuji Speedway that often, they don't really like the circuit, then I guess a few people, especially with the 3 drop rounds, would think, well, I'm just not going to buy it then. I'm just not going to bother. I'm going to miss out on this round. But of course, as you say, there are various reasons that drivers wouldn't be able to make rounds as well. Luke Maxwell is another driver who, I don't know if you mentioned it, but he is another driver that will be missing out on tonight's race. That's the second missed round of this season for him, which is going to hurt him a little bit in terms of points, because worse and worse races are getting dropped, which is not good for you. Really, you do want to try and keep your results as good as possible, and obviously when you're not here, you can't do that. So Maxwell is going to take a bit of a hit on that one for today, but he'll be back, I'm sure, for the next round at Road America, to put that one right and really get his season going, because he was starting to build a bit of momentum after his championship last season.
Yeah, I think that's the interesting thing. Good evening, Pete Bangle. Welcome in. Surprised to see you here watching some radical action. As you say, we've got Road America next week. Then we go on to the Monza GP circuit. On the 17th of November, we go to Mosport. And then on the 24th and the 1st. And I think, Ewan, this is the crest of the calendar. Right at the end, we go to Bathurst first, which, as we know, is absolutely epic. And then we go on to the full Nordschleife circuit. So 2 epic circuits to finish the season off, and I think for these drivers that's got to be a pinnacle, isn't it? Bathurst and Nordschleife, they're 2 you want to go out and win straight away, aren't they?
Yeah, there'll be 2 circuits that will be eagerly awaited by all of them. I think it's going to be a difficult race, though, a couple of difficult races, and Bathurst not easy at all with the wall so close at the top of the mountain there, and obviously everybody knows about the Nordschleife, so it's going to be very, very hard indeed at the end of this season. But hopefully it's going to be very interesting as well. There's nothing guaranteed before you get to that point for whoever the championship leader is, but a couple of difficult races to see that one out. So that will keep us on the edge of our seat, hopefully till the very end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely as well. It went right down to the end last season. So hopefully this season we'll get the same kind of drama as well. We can see Damien G out on track. Times are coming in 1:33.473 at the moment here for the top for Simon Edwards. I'm not really, I think, to be honest, Ewan, I think that time's going to come down. I'm not expecting it to come down a lot, though. I think if we get low 33s, I don't think we're going to hit a 32. But then again, maybe I'm just being a bit more of a pessimist than I am an optimist, as you see Ben Underdown's doing purple in sector 2. But I think 1:33 is probably whereabouts these drivers really want to be with their times. If they can hit the 1:32, great. But we are asking Simon Edwards to go and make up half a second on his next lap. You know what I mean? It's a big ask and not always one that's possible, considering he's got 2 yellows in sector 1 and 2. So he's definitely not going to hit it. But 1:33, would you say, was a target time? I think Simon Edwards has already put one up, but it's kind of, hey guys, there's my time. Now you got to go out and kind of match it.
And Ben Underdown there, very nearly did actually, 900ths of a second away, but still not quite able to get there. They are still in the mid-33s. I mean, it's impossible really to know just how much this track's going to evolve and just how much, well, not the track's going to evolve, they're on their own, but just how much these drivers are going to wind up the speed a little bit. We speak about this week after week. The times just get faster and faster and faster as the session goes on, and we'll just see how much that actually happens this time. It happened for a lot of them on that lap, actually. Simon Edwards wasn't able to go quicker, but Boosen, Underdown, Rolliston and Brown were all able to get into the top 5 and all able to get into the 33s because of the way these cars just get faster as you go along. It seems that Mike Boosen has timed this one perfectly as well, as he's gone purple in the first sector, and he doesn't exactly need that much time to take pole.
No, definitely not. As you say, 9/10 of a second is not a lot currently at the moment for Mike Boosen. It'd be great to see him on pole. I've got to be honest. I think there's a kind of a soft spot for Mike, and I think the problem is obviously he's been so close, and I thought he was going to get it, and he probably should have done at Watkins, and it was just agonising. Absolutely agonising for Boosen, and I do wish him, all the best and getting a victory if he can this evening as well. He's got a good opportunity to make up a big chunk of points though. Yes, the guys have got drop weeks, and yes, some of them are going to be on zeros, but if Mike can make up points, his drop weeks might not work out so bad. He is going to be dropping scores off, and he is Mr. Consistent, as we know, but he's just taken pole position on a 1:33.193. Oh, Boosen coming in sneaking at the end there. So that's incredible for him. Ben Underdown is in the pits. Nothing doing there either. David Rolliston is going to be looking at heading in. Damien G is going to be the last of on track. But that's what I mean with Mike. He's so close, isn't he, Ewan? It's almost like he's got his hand on the trophy, and yet somebody keeps pulling his fingers off. You know what I mean? He's almost there.
Yeah, we've contributed to that a couple of times as well,
yes.
I've got to say. I'm thinking back to Watkins Glen in particular, where he was leading, and I said he might win, and then he didn't win.
No.
But yeah, anyway, hopefully today is going to be his day. It was a great lap towards the end there, and somewhat surprisingly on the final lap, and the third and final lap, which is normally the lap where everybody goes mental, really wasn't very chaotic on this occasion. There weren't many improvements. And Boosen definitely benefited from that. The fact that Simon Edwards didn't improve on his opening lap time really helped him as well. Boosen's lap time in itself wasn't bad, of course, as well. To be in the 33.1s there is impressive. But either way, it certainly helped that a lot of the others around him didn't really improve. The fact that we have 8 cars within 1 second around this circuit is very promising indeed for this race. That is going to be very close because people haven't really had that much time to perfect their lines around here and go maybe get quite as much practice as they would at maybe other circuits and more popular circuits we've had in the past.
Yeah, they've had 1 hour 50 practice before, and there was a few out at the beginning when I jumped in the session about 7 o'clock just to make sure if it was working. But again, is really 1 hour and 50 minutes enough? I don't know, because obvious reasons, we're in the booth, me and you, and obviously my sim time is very, very minor. I can't even remember the last time I did a race, to be honest. But do we think then these guys have got to look at putting more in? Can they give more? That's the question. Family life, IRL, we all know how much it not interferes, how much it sort of gets involved with your sim life. There's just not enough time, not enough hours in the day to warrant jumping onto a circuit almost as tricky as Fuji. And I think that's probably where a couple of them are struggling again tonight, I think.
I think even if you do have, all the hours in the world, like we see some professional esports drivers, indeed, even at a new circuit for them, there's going to be a limit to what you can do early on. You've got to spend a real load of time working it out, and that doesn't matter who you are, whether you've just bought iRacing for the first, well, you don't buy iRacing, do you? But whether you've gone on iRacing for the first time in your life, or whether you've been playing it since it was released for the very first time, it's going to take you some time to actually get to grips with a new circuit, a new combination, something that you haven't really raced with. So I don't think it matters who you are really and how many hours you have. You are going to struggle at a new circuit like Fuji, and it isn't easy to perfect this one. I've got to say, one of the corners that I find particularly difficult for some reason is 100R, around there at 4 and 5. The right line through there never seems to be obvious. It's not obvious to me. And you've got to spend some time working out corners like that, and the last sector as well, where you've got quite a few late apexes to take.
Yeah, the grid is up on your screen. Good evening, Mapson. Hope you're well. I'll never try and pronounce your first name, mate, even when I'm doing a broadcast. But welcome in. Thank you so much for joining us. Mike Buson is in first place. Simon Edwards second. Ben Underdown third. David Rolleston fourth. Graham Brown in fifth. Paul LeMay in sixth. Paul Clark in seventh. Graham Brown eighth. Darrell Taylor ninth. Damien G 10th. Michael LeMay 11th. And Dave Dowson in 12th place. We do have 12 cars on track tonight. As we say, a mixture of the circuit and a mixture of time, and half term hasn't always allowed these guys to get on track as much as they probably would want to do. As I said earlier on as well, maybe if you don't going to look at never buying this circuit again or using this circuit, sometimes it's not even worth picking up. And I think, as you say, with 3 drop weeks in place as well, there really isn't any need to worry about it as such, I suppose, on that one, because you're almost covered. As we just wait for Mike to jump on to the start-finish grid here. And no deaths down in turn 1. That would be amazing. But let's see here as we're waiting for the lights to come on. We're going to have them very, very shortly. 1 light, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And we are go for round 7 of Fuji here tonight with a Radical Race Series live on the Radical Race Series YouTube channel and JPB as well. As you can see, Simon Edwards diving down into the first corner. Mike Buson into second. David Rolleston in third. Ben Underdown in fourth. Graham Brown fifth. Paul LeMay in sixth. That was clean. I've got to be honest. I was almost expecting some more dramas going down in the turn 1 you and there, but they were all through clean quite happily.
Yeah, it was a very good lap 1, turn 1 I should say, down there in that downhill braking zone, but it wasn't a good launch off the line there from Mike Buson, not able to convert that pole position into an early lead. Simon Edwards got away much better than him, and the fact that he started on the inside didn't even matter. He would have gotten through if he was on the outside there, Simon Edwards, so he's through now, and the two of them look like they're going to run away as well, because Rolleston immediately coming under pressure for that third place. The battle for third looks very, very well contested actually, while the top two were able to get away.
Yeah, they're all up and running. As I say, the front two have got away. Damien G looks like he did get himself tangled up in an incident there as well. Dave Dowson currently at the back of the grid. Graham Brown in the middle, being chased down by Paul LeMay currently as well. I know Ben Underdown is going to want to try and clear David Rolleston, and they've got this long straightaway to do this here, where Buson can really try and make up some time, keep it in the draft, as well as Ben Underdown as well. Darrell Taylor has unfortunately had an incident as well, which we will have a look back at that one as they come down to the end of lap 1 here at Ewan, and currently is Edwards, Buson, Rolleston and Underdown.
In the top 6 getting away as the fight for third place really does start to heat up, and Underdown down towards the inside, but very early on the brakes, unless Rolleston has entirely overshot that. It was just Underdown backing out of that one, and given how far alongside he was there, very surprised about that. wasn't feeling it, apparently, into turn number 1, and so he's going to stay behind. And he'll probably have to wait again until turn 1. That is the problem a little bit with this circuit, is that you do have that one glaring overtaking opportunity at the first corner, but after that, slim pickings really. Turn 10 is another chance, and maybe even down here at turn 6, sorry, where there was a bit of a dive from 1 or 2, at least a bit of a look. But no moves made once again as they make their way down towards the hairpin, and it will be a waiting game here again for Mike Bouthen.
Yeah, I think from Bouson's point of view, I do wonder though, and I know this might sound really bizarre to be saying this 2 laps in, do you think the patient game of waiting till the end? Because it's a long straight here, we know that. If you take him now, you're going to be drafted on the next one if he stays with you throughout the whole circuit. So did we kind of see that from Ben Underdown about the fact that he didn't want to make that move early? Or, I'm not saying he's going to want to sit behind David Rollison, don't get me wrong, but you get what I mean? Like, it's a long old draft here, and if he makes the move early and David Rollison keeps up with him, he's going to be looking at getting him, drafting him back down on the next lap. Could he be patient?
Well, maybe. I think the guys in 3rd place, though, are going to want to try and get as far on the order as possible and try and maybe even catch the leaders if they possibly can. Roston having a couple of connection problems as well, which isn't helping. Underdown just not that confident under brakes into turn 1, clearly. He does manage to do it on this occasion as Simon Edwards has gone off at turn 1. It's a very difficult braking zone, and Edwards has come unstuck down there. Luckily, the top 6 kind of got away there, so he only does drop to 6th, but not right to the back. But let's see if it was on his own. He brakes too late, tries to trail brake in, but once you start going downhill over the crest there, it gets a lot more difficult, and Simon Edwards has dropped to 6th.
Oh, Ewan, do we say it? Do we say it, or do we wait till the very last lap when the checkered flag is taken? Can he get the first pick? I've got to say the man who does not be named, as we see Graham Brown going in deep there as well from David Rollison in through the tricky chicane section. The man who cannot be named, can he take his first victory this evening? Let's only well, see what happens, but from now on, for the rest of the broadcast, we will call him the man who cannot be named. Sim Racing Community TV, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining us, as you have been in. Right about now, the leader, Simon Edwards, did spin down into turn 1 and dropped himself all the way down into 6th place. He did have quite a bit of a gap, mind you, but we've got this freeway train currently with Paul LeMay and Graham Brown and Simon Edwards. How is this going to go as they start moving their way down into turn 1? As you can see there, LeMay has pulled out, ready to go. He's through and done and dusted. What could Simon Edwards do here as well? He's just looking. There's no real room there, Ewan, is there? He can't really go anywhere when you've got a car on the inside and a car on the outside, and I think going 3 wide, he's got this. Oh, Graham Brown, can he squeeze him up there? We'll stay on board here as they're going into that tricky part of the circuit, round turn 3, round Coca-Cola corner of all things, and then this 100R that, well, it just doesn't seem to be a line of any form of necessity around this circuit. But I think that's what that's what Edwards got stuck with, didn't he? There was kind of nowhere to go at the end of that straight. He was picking up the drive from LeMay and Brown, just couldn't do it, couldn't go anywhere because they were across both sides of the circuit.
Yeah, it was difficult really. He did the right thing into turn 1, definitely, in not making it 3 wide, not trying to make up for his mistake all in one move there. Just wait for one of them to go wide at turn 1 and then try and go through. But it was quite clear that once he found himself on the outside going towards turn 3, he didn't really want to be out there. And he's already been around once in this race, doesn't want to go spinning around again. I know it was only a half spin, but it did cost him quite a lot. So he is biding his time right now, but he won't have all the time in the world. 10 laps to go at the end of this one. It's not a particularly long race, and so Edwards is going to want to make progress as quickly as possible to try and at least reduce the amount of cars between himself and Mike Boutsen, who is starting to really eye up for a championship right now. Graham Brown is definitely going to be under pressure into turn 1. I don't think he's going to be able to do much to hold Simon Edwards back.
No, they're side by side. Edwards on the left, Brown on the right. As they're coming down into turn 1, we've got Paul Clark as well making that move further back. We'll keep an eye on that one as we see Edwards go through. And we see Clark go through as well. So he's now up into 7th place for him. Good move so far. Ben Underdown has got about a second gap over David Rollison with this man behind him. Paul LeMay, who's got Simon Edwards half a second back at the moment. Edwards is going to be looking at coming through the order without a shadow of a doubt. second place in qualifying and got off the grid and was literally flying off the start until we unfortunately had that spin. Graham Brown, however, is still chasing down Paul Clark here, and I think this is going to be an interesting battle as they go down. This is the battle for 7th at the moment. The gaps up front are about a second. This is one of your closest battles on track currently at the moment, but I'm expecting them all to start coming together later on in the races. We're on lap 5 of 14, and he who cannot be named is leading due to the fact that we don't want anything to happen. So I think that's fair, Ewan, don't you think?
Yeah, I think everyone knows who we're talking about. It's looking good, though, in the lead for this one at the moment. 2.5 seconds is the margin out there. I think most of the action in the rest of this race, though, is going to come from Simon Edwards. Maybe a couple of these battles between a couple of drivers popping up here and there, up and down the order. But Simon Edwards is going to be providing the entertainment, I think, because he is arguably out of position with regards to his pace. He was second, of course, in that qualifying session, but then again, wasn't that much faster in terms of actual timing than most of the guys he's around right now. So it's not going to be an easy move. It's not going to be a real breeze for him. He is going to have to work for this one, but I do believe that he's capable of getting through into at least 3rd place. He's got to be careful that Ben Underdown doesn't get too far away to deny him second, maybe, but I think LeMay and Rolliston are really going to have their work cut out to try and finish in front of Simon Edwards and on the podium.
Yeah, well, we've only got 8 laps remaining here. Oh, Fuji, you see there, Edwards got the car nicely hooked up round 100R as they're going down into turn 6, which is the tricky left-hand hairpin here as well. So Edwards is on the back of LeMay. We are on board with Simon Edwards. You see the lap times at the bottom there currently as well. Edwards has been quicker, but LeMay was quicker in lap 5. So we'll see how this pans out going across lap 6, and I'm expecting that to reverse back the other way. That hairpin, no matter what car you're in, Ewan, that hairpin, that right-left chicane, oh, is an absolute killer of a corner to have at the end of that straight as well. You come round from 6 down to down 300R down into 10, and then you're greeted with a chicane at the bottom. It's a right nightmare.
Can't help but feel they could have made that corner a bit better, really. But anyway, I know the actual one they have in there is a bit too quick, but there's a lot of space on the outside there for them to make a bit of a sharper corner, but not quite an awkward chicane like that. But anyway, we'll leave that one to the track designers. As LeMay is getting very close to Rolliston now on the inside line. Rolliston not quick in the straight line there at all. Not sure whether he just got a bad exit off the final corner. Oh, they lean on each other. Rolliston goes wide. LeMay goes quite wide as well. Again, have them both. He's off.
Oh. What can we say for Simon Edwards? He just cannot get a break, can he? Unbelievable there. We'll have a look back and see how that one all panned out, and it all started here. Oh.
It's an awkward one.
Yeah, it was an awkward one. We need to go back a little bit further on. We'll see if we can start it off from here with LeMay and Rolliston. So May makes this move, and there's no real danger giving here. You know, from Edwards' point of view, he's in the right position. He's where he needs to be, right? He's taken that inside line. Oh, I don't know. That was a really difficult one to see from there, but. What do we think? Could it have been... Oh, wrong one. Could it have been helped?
Probably, but this is the angle. So Rolliston here, oh, it's a really difficult one to call because Rolliston has gone in deep there and he's looking for the cutback on LeMay. So that's why he's coming across, but doesn't realise that Simon Edwards is alongside him and just tips Edwards then into Rolliston, into LeMay as well. So it's a very difficult one to call, really, that one. And it's hard to know where to apportion blame. I mean, after all, Rolliston is the driver who is furthest behind and can see everything happening in front of him at the time. So maybe you would have to put that one on him, if anything. But then again, would you really try and pin it on any one singular driver in the three of them? Not entirely sure. It's a very dramatic incident indeed, and possibly a season-defining one as well, because Edwards is a long way down at the order now. And projected on projected order right now, he'd lose nearly 20 points to Busen in today, which is a lot of points.
Yeah, absolutely as well. Ivan Bramer, good evening. How are you going? I'm going well. Ewan is going well. Simon Edwards is not going well. Not loving this racetrack. Do you know the hardest thing as well, Ewan? On that replay, Paul LeMay locked up. He kind of come to a stop, and there was a big puff of smoke coming out the back. And I don't know whether or not that caused Rolleston to try and almost make an evasive action manoeuvre to try and go round LeMay, and obviously then caught Simon Edwards. It's a tough one, isn't it, really? Because you can see it on the replay, the fact that LeMay then locks up. So he gets this job done here. But if we watch him down into turn one, there's a big old puff of smoke off him. So they start leaning on each other there, which is what we expected. And then he's got this. And it kind of locks out, it is spinning, and then it all kind of goes a little bit wrong. So I don't know where you would even think, oh, Mike's in the pits. What?
Oh, no. Oh, no. Mike Busen in the pit lane. What is this all about?
Oh, please tell me you put enough fuel in.
It doesn't look like he's put enough fuel. Well, it's not a drive-through. Clearly, he intends to stop in his box. So a drive-through would suggest that you know, there's a penalty to serve with regards to off-tracks or something, but that's clearly not the case.
That's fuel.
He needed 5 laps. That's about 6 laps worth of fuel as well, maybe a little bit more. So Busen has underfueled the car, and unfortunately, he's done it at one of the longest pit lanes we have all season.
No. He just cannot get a break, can he? He was flying out in front, and then he doesn't fuel the car enough. Is he ever going to get his first victory? We wasn't even talking about him. We said he was the man who cannot be named for purposes of, we didn't want to mention him, and yet he still didn't take it. And now we've got Ben Underdown, who's leading. LeMay in second here with Graham Brown behind him as well. Further down, we've got the other Paul Clark. He's being chased down by the other Graham Brown in the series as well. Who was at fault of that one? Edwards may not have seen the other car, but he did come back across the track, so it's a tough score. Yeah, it is. And I think that's what me and Ewan were saying, is that you can't really blame anybody as such. I suppose, you know, we can look at Rolleston, but that's as far as what we can do. We're not stewards, and at the end of the day, I'm sure that will come down to it if people feel they want to make that sort of that inquiry into it. But from our point of view, I wouldn't want to be looking at pointing blame. I don't know if you want to be waving the finger at anyone.
I think there becomes a point when you spend so long looking at an incident that it's probably better to just decide that it's a racing incident. There does become a point where you know, you've just tried to decide so hard as to who is at fault that the real answer might actually be nobody really. It's very difficult one to call, and there's a lot going on there as well. Yeah, I wouldn't put too much blame on any singular one of the drivers, but both of those championship contenders now, Edwards and Busen, outside the top 5, which is pretty unheard of. Mike Busen has just gotten up into 10th place there. So that's a positive, at least for him there now. But I think that's pretty much going to be it for him now in terms of overtakes. Simon Edwards has got plenty of cars in front of him that he could take points off of.
But he's only got 4 laps to do it. And the next in line behind Simon, in front of Simon Edwards is Michael LeMay, and then you've got Paul Clark here and Graham Brown. They're fighting side by side as well, which could eventually hold each other up. As we can see there, Paul Clark from iLounge Racing, obviously one of the sponsors this evening as well. So go and check them out, iLoungeRacing.co.uk as well for all your sim needs. So go and have a look at their website. They've got all sims available on there as well. And if you're really flush and you've won the lottery, you can buy a simulator for £100,000. Incredible stuff that Paul is doing with iLounge Racing as well, so please go and check them out, iLoungeRacing.co.uk. I did volunteer for Paul, as we see here, Graham Brown trying to get round. I'll get back to my story in a minute as Paul defends the inside line, and Graham did not get through this time as well. I did try just to hint to Paul earlier on today. He was looking for a drive and looking to enter his SR1. He was talking about getting his SR1 dusted off as well for a series that's coming to the BTCC, a part of that one. I did say to Paul, you know, if you need a driver, hit me up, and I'll happily jump in your SR1. Now, the chances of that happening are probably very slim. So on that thing, I did turn around and say, well, how about we turn it into a media day and I'll come and have a chat and do some interviews with you instead. Maybe that's a bit more realistic for me, I think, Ewan, and Paul handing over the keys to his SR1, going, there you go, James, go drive it round Brands Hatch, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think I would do that if I was in his position, if I'm honest.
Thanks, mate.
But not because of you, of course. But,
oh no, of course not. Somebody with no experience of driving the SR1 around a racing circuit at all. Why would you give me the keys?
What could go wrong with that?
Yeah, exactly.
What could go wrong with that?
It's like
yeah, doing all right at the moment. It's top 5 for now for him. Just looking in the background though at Simon Edwards, who's gotten up in front of Paul LeMay, that is. I think
Michael,
not the
Michael,
not the LeMay, well, Michael LeMay, not the LeMay that he got involved with earlier. Is what I was trying to say. I don't think it is anyway.
No.
But yeah, up another position for Simon Edwards. Another point gained over Mike Bousson as well, which is positive. And there's another couple of cars up here as well. 3 laps to go as they go over the line. So maybe there are a couple of points left to pick up here for Simon Edwards.
Can he make up the 1.5 though? I know these guys are fighting and they're probably jeopardising their lap times, and I just wonder if he can make up that 1.5 kind of that he needs. You know, 1:35.36 for Clark. Saying that, he pulled out, it was did a 1:34.85, Simon Edwards, so maybe it's an opportunity for him, but he hasn't got long to go and do it. And I think from his point of view, I'm going to kind of not put it out there that he's not going to get it, because as we've seen with him, anything can literally happen. I'm not optimistic that he can make this move up to Graham Brown. Maybe I'm underestimating the skill of Simon Edwards, of course, but if I am, then I'm going to eat humble pie at the end of this. But I think it's going to be tough for him to clear these 2 cars before the end.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I do think he can get there, though. We are about to go into the penultimate lap, but these 2 are fighting, as we've mentioned, and Edwards looks quicker than them anyway. And another couple of points here would halve the championship margin from the start of the day to Mike Bousson, which was 10 points. It would halve it to 5 if he was to be able to get up into that 5th position. So we'll see if he can manage it here in this one. I do think he's going to be there. Brown could even be challenging by the end of this straight here down in towards turn 1. We'll see if he's close enough.
Yeah, we got this one. Well, Paul Clark did the sensible thing, pulled over to the right-hand side, to kind of defending the inside there as well. We've got this one and one more, and currently the gap from Edwards into Brown is just under a second. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one pans out, whether or not Simon Edwards can take these extra 2 positions that he kind of would need and move himself up into 5th place as well. So Dave Dowson has not had the greatest of races. Unfortunately, he's been involved in a couple of incidents there as well. So, and is now out, unfortunately, this evening. To see Graham Brown on the left-hand side there, trying to make that move round. Paul Clark doesn't get it this time. Paul is kind of defending really sort of stoutly, isn't he? He's not giving up room that he doesn't need to give up, and I think that's kind of where the racing side of Paul Clark comes in, because he's not giving Graham Brown any room. He's taking that inside line straight away down the straight. He's not allowing him to catch the draft as much as Graham's really not kind of pushing the draft scenario, because he could follow him across the track, Ewan. But I think from Paul Clark's kind of point of view, he's done what he needs to do to defend that position up to this point, and he's only really got this long straightaway on the last lap, which I believe Ben Underdown is coming across to take now. He's only got really this next straight to kind of defend from him, and it looks like he's got a better run than him out of the last corner. However, Simon Edwards does look like he's got a better run than Graham Brown as well.
It could be 3 wide by the end of the straight here, if indeed Brown is really going to close in. Simon Edwards has got decent straight line speed. We've seen him using that so far. Let's see if it's going to be the position this time. Interesting to see defence there from Clark, and Edwards is going to pick up a bit of a slipstream from that as well. He's going to brake a little bit later. He's had problems with the braking into turn 1 in the past, and problems on the way out as well, but he's been able to get through into 6th place. Normally you'd see him waiting for turn 1 again to try and get up into 5th, but given this is the last lap, he might just have to throw it down the inside when we get to the hairpin down at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see how this one pans out. These guys are coming into turn 6 now. The left-hander, Simon Edwards, is trying to make up places. He's got 2 attempts here to make him up as well. Paul Clark runs a little bit wider, lets the car drift out. Here we go, down into the tricky hairpin that we're talking about, this right-hander, and then you go straight into the chicane, which is not the most easiest one. Is Simon Edwards going to get it this time around? No. Can Paul Clark get this turn done? Now, I'm not going to boast. I did it in a GT3 in a Mercedes, went round the outside of somebody through this section of circuit of this corner, so it is possible. And if I could do it, Simon Edwards could do it, trust me. So here we go. Let's see how he gets on. It was through here. I started making a move over the outside. I went and rushed up the inside. The inside's covered. Can he make it round now? Oh, he's got to slide on. It's going to be the run down to the line. Sorry, Ben, I missed you, but there you go. Your victor is Ben Underdown. Paul LeMay in second. Graham Brown third. David Rolleston is going to come across the line in fourth. Paul Clark and Simon Edwards are going to be neck and neck going down into the line now. Who's going to get it? Is it going to be Simon Edwards? Is it going to be Paul Clark? It's Edwards! Edwards has got it! According to the timing, Edwards has got it, and he pipped him on the line by 0.0004 of a second. Well, that's an ending.
Wow, that was very, very close indeed. And if this championship comes down to 1.1 away or the other, then Simon Edwards can look back on this race, because that was just another one gained there over Paul Clark, who did everything he could to defend there, to be fair to him. He didn't go over defensive into some of these corners that he didn't need to, but also at the same time, he went defensive enough into the final corner there to force Edwards around the outside. I think he was trying to protect from the crisscross there from Edwards. He was trying to make sure that Edwards didn't get the better run on him, but I feel like Edwards realised that was going to happen, and so went round the outside anyway and did get that 5th place. There it is, 5 thousandths of a second in the official results. Yeah, great recovery from Edwards after 2 incidents in one race.
Yeah, so there are your results there. Ben Underdown is in first place. Paul LeMay in second. Graham Brown in third. David Rolleston in fourth. And Simon Edwards, Paul Clark, unbelievably close. 5 thousandths of a second there, and Edwards takes it from Clark. Graham Brown in seventh. Michael LeMay in eighth. Damien G in ninth. Mike Busson in 10th. Darrell Taylor in 11th. And poor Dave Dawson and a bit of a rough one down in 12th place. So, wow. I didn't think he was going to get there, so I do obviously have to admit that I've got to eat humble pie. The fact that he did actually get there, so fair play to Simon Edwards. And do you know the weirdest thing, Ewan, as well? He didn't look like he was in front of him at the line. He didn't look like he'd got past him. Do you know what I mean? And I think this is the rundown. You know, look at that. Where does iRacing? Oh, there. Oh, look at this.
Close. Yeah, it is all pretty much about where the line is, and any earlier, and Edwards wouldn't have got there by the looks of things. He does come with a real head of steam though right at the end.
Oh.
There's the line. Very close.
Yeah.
Just about got it. Just about got the top 5.
Unbelievable there as well. We have got Mike waiting in the interview booth this evening. And once again, Mike Busson, welcome in. How are you? Please tell me what happened.
Am I allowed to swear? I'm not really sure.
No, you're not allowed to swear. I don't have a beep button, and there isn't a delay on your voice.
Yeah, I was 10 litres short on my fuel. I'll tell you. Inside, you didn't say anything about a potential win, did you? You didn't curse me again or something.
No, do you know what, right? Actually, I'm going to give you this, because me and Ewan both sat here, and we were actually like, could it be possible? We actually called you he who could not be named is out front. So we didn't even put a name on that, and I didn't go to you at all right up until the point you went in the pit lane. That's the only time I covered you, so please don't, it wasn't me this time. We called you he who could not be named. Could he take the first victory?
Yeah, I had this. I was confident I was going to take this one tonight, and obviously when you're driving along and you hear that message about how many laps you've got left, because for some reason I'm 10 litres short. I had 16 litres in the tank, and obviously, or 17 litres in the tank, and I needed 27 litres in the tank at least. So yeah, I'm here to destroy my own championship. So
Yeah,
there we go.
I'm gutted. Mate, I'm gutted for you, mate. I honestly thought, both of us sat here in the booth, and we honestly thought you were going to get it. You know, both of us didn't use your name because we didn't want it to happen. But I honestly thought, Mike, you were going to get it, and I could only just feel the pain that you're going through. And
I was just cruising. I was just thinking myself. I'm looking at the gap. I was thinking I'll keep a 2-second gap to Ben. I thought I'd better have a couple of laps just to check that's just me going slow and not Ben keeping up. So I pulled out of almost back a second, I think, in one lap or something, and I thought to myself, that's right. I can just go back to cruising now, and then you have 2 laps of fuel or whatever it said, and I was crying inside.
yeah, I would have been as well.
My only saving grace is obviously Simon had his own issues, and I thought to myself, well, at least I've been let off the hook a little bit.
Yeah, he finished 5th in the end, and you finished down in 10th. He got Paul Clark by 0.005 of a second at the line. Literally, dude, it was so close. We literally followed him across the line. But look, Mike, onwards and upwards, buddy. Onwards and upwards.
Yes. Yes, there's always next week, isn't there?
Yeah, I know. I will see you at other points as well.
Oh, you will.
Road America. Come on, you got to get this, mate. You got to get it.
I expect Simon and the rest of the lads to be very strong there. It's obviously a well-raced track. I am pretty fast there, but it's going to be a lottery who takes that, I reckon. But we will see. We will try our best and put some fuel in the car.
Yeah, please do so, mate. Please do. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before you leave the booth? Have you prepared?
We better give it to Ben this evening for his outstanding performance. Better not rib him. At least he bought this track.
This is also true.
That one.
And he beat you, so you can't really, can you?
All right. When we're at work tomorrow, I'm going to have to hide from him. So.
All right, bud.
That mug little grin on his face.
Well,
right.
You better go. There's others waiting. Much love, as always,
I'll speak
Mike.
to you later.
See you later. Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Right, let's bring in our second place man this evening, Paul LeMay. Paul, welcome into the booth, young sir. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, James. Yourself?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I've sat here and I've just watched heartbreak. I've watched elation. I've watched, we've had it all. We even went into Harry Potter because we thought Mike was going to win, so we called him the man who cannot be named. And he didn't get it either. But you had a good one and finished in second place. So let's forget all the others. They're not even important. You are.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, okay, mate. No, I'm really pleased. I went for a very low downforce, and it kind of paid off. But I really couldn't do anything about Ben. Once I was up into second, I tried my best, but I couldn't get anywhere. And then, of course, Graham was giving me a lot of bother behind.
Yeah, you ended up finished 1.66 in front of Graham as well. It was going to be tough as well, I think, for you in that one. Ben doing the 133.62s. You cracking on the 134s. It was always going to be tough. But I think if you could have got in that draft range down that straight that goes on for absolutely ever, I'm sure it goes into another city. It's that long. I think you could have maybe made that difference. But at the end of the day, you've managed to get the second place. You've stayed on track. You've kept it on the black stuff, and you managed to score points.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Yeah, no, I'm happy with that. I mean, coming off the last corner is always a bit tricky. If you don't get off there quick enough, then the draft isn't that good. It's right towards the end, and then you've got to worry about sort of the brakes. And I think Rolo tried to come around the outside a bit. I'm not sure, but I was just trying to be cautious going in there because I was on the tighter line.
Yeah, we just watched a near miss with you and Paul Clark. Paul locking up and managing to avoid you going down into that tricky chicane section.
The chicane, yeah. We're
going down onto Road America next week, though, buddy. Well, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, really looking forward to it. I think it'll be another close. I think it'll be a pretty close race. It's a great track, and I think most of the guys really like it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just tell me one thing before you go. Where's your expected finishing position for the season?
I don't know. I always I always sort of say to myself, if I can get in the top 10, then I'm a happy man. So we'll see what happens.
All right, well, you're in 7th at the moment, so I look forward to keeping you there as well. But Paul, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before you leave the booth this evening?
No, well, just to the guys in the league, really. Shout out to them because they're all really fair drivers, and it's great fun. So shout out to them.
All right, well, there you go. Thank you so much, Paul, for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you at Road America.
Okay, James. Look forward to seeing you then.
Take care, mate.
Cheers, then. Bye.
Right, I better bring in Graham Brown here. Graham, who has joined us in the booth this evening. Graham, good evening. How are you, sir?
Hi, James. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. And how about yourself?
Mate, as I said, me and Ewan have just sat here and witnessed everything in a short, brief period of time that could happen in racing. You know, Simon Edwards spinning on his own, then being involved in a collision. Mike Bousson nearly taking a victory and running out of fuel. You finishing third on the podium, which is absolutely outstanding, up 2 positions from where you started. So all in all, it's been a great evening. What's it been like for you?
Yeah, it's I didn't have the best quality, but yeah, it's just about taking risks, and I took it a bit too safe, and then just didn't get the good start. And I think I had higher downforce than the other cars, so literally in the straights, I just had nothing. So where I needed it, I didn't have it. I was catching up in the corners, so all I could do is try dive on the last hairpin going into the S's, and if that didn't work, my tyres were toast. So it's literally just after a while, I thought, you know what, P3, I'll take that all day long.
Yeah, absolutely. I think at the end of the day, it's kind of that risk and reward, isn't it? If it's worth not risking it for risking it for a biscuit almost, I wouldn't worry too much about it. But overall, stellar race, nice and comfortable for you. Looking forward to next week at Road America.
Yeah, that should be a good one. Yeah, I enjoy that track. Not very good, but I enjoy it. So that's sort of the name of the game.
Well, at the end of the day, that is the name of the game. And I just want to give you one honourable mention for the fact that you're in a JPS liveried Radical. That's it. I love you for that. That livery is iconic.
I saw it in Trading Paints and I was like, I've got to race that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you full props for that one, Graham. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before you leave the booth this evening?
Congrats to Ben. That was absolutely stellar all night. He was bang on point.
Absolutely. Well, just let Ben know. I'm going to get Simon in first. I want to chat with him, and then I'm going to bring the winner in at the end, if that's all right. Just so Ben don't think I'm ignoring him. But thank you so much, Graham, for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah. Cheers, James. Cheers, Ewan.
All right, I'm going to bring in Simon Edwards into the booth. The man with an action-packed evening here in Fuji, Japan. Simon, how are you?
I don't like that first corner.
Well, we've both, to be honest with you, both me and Ewan figured that one out, mate.
Well, in the first instance, it was just a bit of silliness. Because my VR, I don't know how, but my window had gone off focus, so it starts stuttering in VR. So down the straight, I thought I had plenty of time, lifted the VR headset up a bit, put the window back in focus, and then it was too late. I was in the corner. But then I thought I could get back to second. And then I just had that incident with Dave. He says he didn't see me on the inside, so I believe him. So I tried to give him loads of room, loads and loads of room, but I ended up backwards.
But you took 5th place by 5 thousandths of a second.
Yeah, that was a good one, wasn't it?
Yeah, we've literally watched it back in slow motion. Like, literally, it couldn't have got any closer, and that was absolutely stellar. You know, yes, you've had a rough week. Yes, you've managed to score points. Yes, you finished ahead of Mike due to Mike deciding that he didn't need enough fuel to get round. But all in all, not a bad evening. It could have been worse, couldn't it? You could have gone down the back, and Mike could have gone out and won.
Yep. And I had a bit of fun in there as well. So, and it's a bit ironic that Mike told me how much fuel to use for the race as well. So that's.
How did he? Hold on, he told you. What did he say to you then?
Well, I says, is 29 litres enough fuel? And he says, yes.
And then he goes and
put 17.
Yeah. Oh dear, Mike Bousson. He's just trying it out to jeopardise his own evening, isn't he? He's never going to get a victory this season. He's just not doing it right. But look, overall, Simon, your comeback through the field was absolutely incredible. Onwards and upwards to next week at Road America. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before you leave the booth this evening?
I'm just going to give a shout out to you guys, I think, because I've been watching all the your other series as well, and I think you do a stellar job. And I'm always looking out for anything new you're doing, so I'm giving a shout out to you guys, both you and Ewan as well.
Thank you very much for that, Simon. But we look forward to seeing you next week at Road America.
Yep, thank you.
Right, let's bring in, we get there, let's bring in Ben Underdown into the booth, who's patiently waited for me. So lovely as well, because I would have been impatient by this point, but then again, there was 4 people in there as well. We got through with Ben. You are the victory. You took the victory this evening. Doesn't matter how it come, Ben. I'm not interested in the fact that Mike didn't put enough fuel in. I am interested in the fact that you kept it on the black stuff and you've taken the victory.
That is my aim. Every time, basically.
What, just to take fuel out of Mike's car before he leaves the pits?
No, I must thank his engineers with a cheeky tenner tomorrow, though.
Yeah, I bet, mate. And Simon just said what's worse as well. Mike actually told him how much fuel to put in.
Yes, I don't know how much information I should divulge, but yes, he did.
Mate, Simon's already told me, mate. Mike's told him 29 litres. Mike said, Simon went 29 litres. Mike went yes, and then he only put 17 in his own car. Oh.
Yeah, I'd practiced on 30 and had an extra lap's worth, so I thought I'd be brave and drop a litre to 29, and it was right in the end. Can't remember what I ended with, but
well, clearly you got across the line, so you ended up with enough, didn't you? You know what I mean? Let's be real there as well. But look, it was a tough night. You got out in front, and then you kind of opened up the gap. You finished, 3.5 seconds in front of the guys in front as well. Yeah, fortunate with Simon having his spin, Mike and his fuel limits, fuel issues, but you still had to keep it on, and a few people couldn't do that this evening. So from your point of view, that's not a bad evening of racing, is it? Really?
not at all. I think that's pretty much the only way I ever finish as high as I do. I just try and finish and be as consistent as I can, and not drop it.
No, it's important.
That's what I aim. I'm not necessarily. I don't think I qualify as well as most, but I can sort of put a near enough lap most of the time, one after another.
Yeah,
the last sector was the fun bit.
Yeah, I could
found a line that was fast enough, but not dangerous enough, somewhere in between, and yeah, happy with that.
Also, I've just realised that's actually your first victory of the season.
It's my first victory in a radical.
Yeah.
And it's actually my second win on iRacing.
Oh, well, props to you, mate.
I won't tell you. The first one was in a Ferrari race at Laguna Seca where everyone crashed out first corner and I just had to drive around in a circle on my own. So it's kind of, like I say, if you just finish.
Hey, to finish first, you got to finish there, buddy. You know what I mean? That's the way it goes. But about it, you got your second victory in iRacing and first race win in a Radical and the first race win on the Radical Race Series as well. And we at JPB managed to catch it live on the broadcast. So there you go. Look at all them firsts you've achieved tonight, Ben. Look, mate, massive congratulations for you. We're going on to Road America next week. Am I going to sit here and say Ben Underdown has got his second victory of the season?
Not a chance.
Oh, mate, come on. You got to give the positivity out. Positive energy.
I really like. It's a great circuit, but I'm sure if Luke, Paul, they're back. I'm sure they'll be up there with Simon and Mike again and battling around. I'll be involved.
Go and give it a good old go.
Yeah.
That's all I want. Just say, when you get in, just say, James said I've got to give it a go. Go give it a go. But look, you are fifth in the championship at the moment as well. So I'm expecting you to actually move up one place into fourth by the end of these points, get all sorted out. But look, Ben, massive congratulations on your victory there, buddy. And is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before you leave the booth this evening?
Mike for his constant tormenting of my tightness.
Yes,
I'm pretty sure language has got to be delicate, so I'll not use too much.
Yeah, he did mention that you went aboard the track,
well.
so...
It's about tactics on that one.
Yeah.
And yourself, because I enjoy a Saturday morning rewatch of what's happened.
Good. That's all that
I enjoy
matters.
it.
But
that's it.
Thank you, Ben, for joining me in the booth, buddy. And we'll look forward to seeing you next week.
We'll see you then.
Take care.
Thanks very much.
Well, there you go, Ewan. That was a full quota of interviews that we've managed to get through this evening. You know, stellar job from these guys tonight. Yeah, you know, the Simon Edwards had a bit of a rough one, and it was up and down. And you know, Mike coming through. Well, Mike is just never getting. I don't know what Mike then needs to do, to be honest, Ewan, apart from obviously put enough fuel in. But overall, it was kind of action packed. You know what I mean? Incidents. Simon Edwards coming through the field again. Mike not putting fuel in. Ben taking his first victory ever in a Radical. What more could we ask for?
Yeah, not much more could have happened there, really. It was very dramatic indeed at a new circuit, as I suppose you'd expect. But yeah, the season will roll on in a week's time. We'll see what happens at Road America next. I'm glad that the other drivers are looking forward to driving around there, because I certainly wouldn't. I don't really like it, but hopefully it produced good racing at the very least. Yeah, we'll have another twist in the championship tail. Only 5 points now between Mike Booston and Simon Edwards, so it's getting very interesting indeed.
Yeah, absolutely it is as well, guys. But there you go. That rounds out tonight's broadcast as well. We've still got the Crest Autosport World Touring Car Challenge Round 1 taking place at Imola as well. You can go and hit that up over still on the JPB YouTube channel as well with Biggles and Dan. So there is the link in chat, so you can go and have a look at that as well. So much love for everybody that's joined me. Ivan Bramer, Sim Racing Community as well. Matheson is here, and also Dan Peoples jumping in. Oi, you should be commentating. Pete Van Gaal, and also Phil across the pond as well, who supplied me with this very comfortable chair that I'm sitting on at this moment in time. So much love to him. But if you are watching live, guys, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, turn on the bells for notifications, and give the video a big old thumbs up. And if you are managing to watch it back as well, please do the same, because that would be absolutely amazing. But all that's left for me to say now, guys, as always, from myself and Ewan O'Leary, you all take care. Have a great week, and you never know, we might see you on the track next time. Good night.